growing up as a child, I jokingly say I was raised by wolves. There was no direction, there was no wisdom or counsel on how to navigate life. Really, it was just kind of the general message was Mark's got it, and I just went out and I did whatever I wanted to do. And the only time we ever really went to church, we went to the Unity Church. And growing up in the Word of God, going to the Unity Church, there really wasn't any truth. Truth was what you wanted it to be. So I had no knowledge of the truth. Later, I discovered some of what I knew was true, and most of what I knew was not true. However, it was really a lot of events that took place that led me to find Christianity and led me to really see what it is God did for me when he laid down his life for me to redeem me. And things changed for me. At the time, when I really dove deep into it, I was studying biology and chemistry. I majored in both biology and chemistry in college. And it was the scientist in me that found the truth. It was the scientist in me that began to question what it is I was being told by everybody. Because there was no truth growing up. So what am I being told by the scientist? And what am I being told by the religious people? And I believe it was that freedom of mind that actually led me to the heart of the truth of who God is and who I am in Jesus Christ and what the reality is of the goings on of the world around us. Now, because of that, I want to take a moment and encourage you to put away everything that you've been taught that you might question. For example, pre-tribulation rapture, what the church is doing with the money. Speaking tongues, what does that really look like? What does it mean to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ? What is it, action steps should the church be taking? If you erase your mind of all that you've been taught, you'll realize that much of what you're staring at is a big, giant lie. That the truth in the Word of God reveals something very, very, very different. And not just in those things, in many things. Those are just a few examples of things that we are being taught today. And many of these, I believe, are doctrines of demons. I strongly believe that, let's just take the pre-tribulation rapture for a moment, that one specifically, because I believe, because of what the Word of God actually says, that the rapture is at the last trumpet, that the only reason you need to be raptured is so that you can reign here on earth for 1,000 years with Jesus Christ in a glorified body that is not dying and sinful and filled with death. That's the only way. Corruption must put on incorruption. Mortality must put on immortality. There is no other way you can live for 1,000 years here on this earth, and that's the only reason for the rapture. So what this has done is it has created generations of Christians, American Christians, the strongest Christian country the world maybe has ever seen. And it has made us weak. It has made us, we're going to escape. None of that bad stuff will ever happen to us. Tribulations for other people, like Jesus went through tribulation. All of the disciples went through tribulation. All Christians throughout all of humanity have gone through tribulation for the most part. Most Christians on other parts of the world, other than America, are going through tribulation right now, but somehow, Jesus is going to come, his second coming, he's going to rapture me up, and then we're going to go somewhere for 7 years. And then he's actually got a third coming, and we're going to come back, and I'll be on a white horse, which, come on now. Nothing is biblical about any of that stuff. You've just been told it. You've just been taught this false lie, when the reality is it's that you are made specifically to go to pick up your cross and follow Jesus and go through tribulation. You were made to be that. You were made for this time. You were specifically made for this moment in time, this end times, that you were built as a Christian to be a part of the warring of the saints, to sustain and let God sustain you for 3.5 years. And then after that is over, then you receive your glorified body and you reign here on earth for 1,000 years with Jesus Christ. In his only return, not his third coming, but his second coming is when you will then be raptured. But you don't go anywhere. You stay here. It's like the Mount of Transfiguration. You just change. Your body puts on incorruption and immortality. But beyond that, speaking in tongues, what are we doing with the money? What are the action steps of the church? These are all doctrines of demons that have been created to make really the Antichrist reign, because many of these Christians will be following the Antichrist. And they will do it thinking he's Jesus. Or he is ordained by God to lead us into this better world of some sort that somehow he can do, but it's only Jesus that can do that. We're already talking about politics as if they're, ordained to reign us into this glorious Jesus-like thing. And that's why the Christian church is filled with doctrines of demons, so they could easily follow that sort of thing. It's important that we wake up, and I guess the purpose of this video is just to encourage you to go past all the offenses I just said to you. Like, how dare he say those things about what I believe? And I'm not saying that necessarily you have a problem. What I'm saying is you've been taught falsities, things that really aren't true. And I want to encourage you, let's just go back to the rapture thing. Just read the verses. Don't take my word for it. Read the verses on it. Go read it. Go read Matthew 24, what Jesus said about immediately after the tribulation. Go read what it says in 1 Chronicles when it says, at the seventh trumpet. Go read what it says in, I can't remember, Thessalonians, I believe. I'm just pulling this out of my head. Go read what it says in Thessalonians about how man must put on incorruption and immortality to be able to reign with Jesus Christ. Read at the last trumpet. Read those verses. And then somehow, the word rapture is only brought up one time in the Bible. It's rapturo, like at the last trumpet. Like it's plain and clear. But yet here we have people that should be preparing for the end times, out creating centers for Christian influence and gathering together with the remnant to prepare for a thing, paying attention to the prophecies and the dreams that God are revealing to you. Instead of doing that, you're watching sports and kick back in your armchair and say, well, hey, I went to church this week. I threw $20 in the plate. I'm just going to get raptured up. None of that stuff is going to happen to me because my Pastor Bill or whatever told me when I was a kid that this thing that is nowhere in the Word of God. Nowhere in the Word of God. So anyhow, again, this was not about a rapture. Let's just now never talk about that again in this video. Let's just kind of go on to, we need to kind of take things that go, well, wait a second. What does that really say? Like, what does it really say? When I went through the book of Revelation, I never used any other book as a reference. I only used the Bible as a cross-reference. The best cross-reference of the Bible is the Bible. Anything that is one place in the Bible that you're like, well, that's confusing, I don't understand that. Well, it's cross-referenced in other places in the Bible, and you pull it all together, you're like, now it's plain and clear. And it's important that we do that we somehow get away from this idea that just because a guy told me so doesn't make it so. Just because of a collective group of pastors agree on a thing doesn't make it so. I want to remind you that when Jesus Christ walked around on this earth, all the religious people stared at prophecy. They could stare at it with their eyes. They could reach out and touch it. And they could watch the miracles. They could even receive a miracle from him. But yet, They totally missed it. They totally didn't get it. And they ended up fulfilling prophecy by murdering him. What do you think the end times is going to be when the warring of the saints? The religious people will be fulfilling prophecy by tearing up and destroying those who are saying, whoa, that guy is not Jesus. That guy is not leading us to Jesus. That guy is a politician who's trying to rule this world and dominate and reign as God on earth so he can replace God as an antichrist. And most people will fall for it. Jesus said in Matthew 24, even the elect will be deceived. It's important we open our eyes. What does the Bible really say? What does it really say?